Hello, and welcome back to Spacer Laces. I'm your host, Jeff Meyer. We're going to run up on the show today. Going to have a lot of fun. But first, I need to address a serious situation that happened this weekend. Ryan Shazier for the Pittsburgh Steelers had a horrible injury. It was hard to watch. I know I was at work when it happened. I wasn't able to watch the game, but I watched the highlights after the game, saw the hit. It was bad. It was real bad. As a player, as a fan, as a former player myself, playing the game, it's hard to watch. It's one of those situations it's always in the back of your head. It's kind of a nightmare situation. You never think it's going to happen. When you play football, when you're a good football player, obviously if you're in the NFL and, Shazier's situation, you don't think about it. You think you're invincible. Unfortunately, these are things that can happen. And I'm just hoping the best for him and his family, Steeler Nation. I know everyone out there is praying for him. But I have to say, for youngsters out there listening to the show, watching the show, you have to be very, very careful when you tackle someone. This is the prime example. I remember back in high school, every year before football camp, before the first day hitting, we watched a film about proper tackling techniques, what not to do. And unfortunately, this tackle is going to be out there for years to come on what not to do. Because he put his head down and used it as a batting ram, like a ram would do if he was, headbutting someone. It was a bad look, bad situation. I feel the worst for him. Like I said, as a former player, those are the situations that are kind of always in your back of your head. You never really think about because you think you're invincible, but it's football. It can happen. It's a harmful, physical, very dangerous sport. In all reality, it's a dangerous sport. When you have guys like him who are 200 some pounds, you can run a 4.40 and hitting you with all his momentum in the world, trying, I don't want to say knock you out, but put you on your back. Stuff happens, It's unfortunate because, Ryan Shazier is a great guy. All the Steelers love him. A big guy in the locker room. Everyone, likes him. There's not really anything to say bad about him. So it's a really bad situation. It's awful. But for young kids out there playing the game, always see what you hit. Keep your head up. Don't use your head as a batting ram. Just make sure, you learn and utilize proper tackling techniques. Is this a shame? But, there's a lot of speculation out there. Hopefully he's okay. I know there's a lot of mixed things. After I got off work, I was looking at my text and, group Snapchat, and I saw all this stuff. I'm like, what the hell happened? I thought, wow, everyone's just overreacting. Then I saw the hit, saw how he reacted, saw him get carted off the field. I'm like, holy shit, this is scary. So, obviously, being a Steeler fan, being a fan of his, I hope he can come back, continue his career, keep doing the things he's doing because he's a great one. But, first and foremost, let's just hope, everything's okay physically with him. He can, regains filling his legs, is able to walk, all the things that are, are like a necessity to have a normal life outside of football. But being a football fan, hopefully he can come back. But right now it's more important just, that he's okay physically because that was a gruesome hit. You don't ever see that. You don't want to see, whether he's a Steeler or not, any player in the, league, high school, middle school, college, you don't want to see that anywhere. It's awful. A guy like that go down, there's not many words. It's just awful. So hopefully he's okay physically, but I want to get that out first, and then I want to roll into my segment, Light 'em Up, which, piggybacking off that situation in the Monday night game, I want to light up the NFL because this is getting ridiculous. The NFL, it might as well be Sarcastaball this time, or Sarcastaball at this time. There's a segment from South Park a few years back. It was actually aired September 26, 2012. So I was already over, 5 years ago at this point, which is crazy to think because it feels like a second ago. But I don't know what the NFL is anymore. I don't know what I'm watching. It's just not football. And when you have, situations like Ryan Shazier when he goes down like that, you kind of understand why the NFL is getting soft. You don't want to see players injured. You don't want to see them hurt. But it's weird, though, because it's like 5-10 years ago, like early 2000s, I don't remember this many people getting hurt. I don't. And the game was much more physical. People were tackling every single day in practice. People were going out there, getting after it. It was physical, hard hitting. And don't get me wrong, the NFL is still hard hitting, but it's not like it was a couple years ago. And for Juju Smith-Schuster to get suspended a game for what I consider a clean hit, and I saw a lot of things on social media, referees, different people saying it was a cheap shot. There's no, need for it in the game. I think it was a clean hit. I mean, my mind, this is one of the things, like, I'm old school. You hate when you get older. You don't like things to change. I'm usually pretty fluent and, like, okay with things changing in life. But when it comes to football, it's really hard for me to think that was a dirty hit, that it wasn't clean. I like old school football. I like in your mouth, smack them. Hines Ward out there being a receiver, knocking people down, taking out linebackers. That was a clean hit. The only bad thing is you can't taunt. He stood over him. I agree. It should have been a penalty, but it shouldn't have been a suspension. In my mind, I could be totally wrong to people out there. I think it was a clean hit. And pointing to what I said about, I don't remember that many people getting hurt in the early 2000s. Mike Mitchell went on a rant, I believe, yesterday. I saw today all over social media at this point, him basically calling out the NFL, the commissioner, saying, okay, guys, we're protecting these offensive players, but by us protecting them, we're going to get hurt. And he's not wrong. That's one thing I remember, like, when I was a young kid, my dad always preached, like, play hard, play fast, always give 110% every play, because the plays you let up, when you let up on the football field, is when you're going to get hurt. You got to keep your head on a swivel out there. Any young kid out there, listen, football is a physical sport, and if you don't keep your head on a swivel, if you don't give 100% every play, you're going to end up hurt or on your back or something, because people are going to take shots. It's just the game is how it is. Someone's going to hit you. Keep your head on a swivel. That's one thing I was very fortunate. I was very good. I had great awareness as a football player. I never really took the big hit like that. Even when I played fullback, I mean, I took big hits blocking people, because that's what happens when you block people. But when I ran the ball, I was shifty enough, didn't really take on the full-blown hit. Even playing linebacker, I don't know. It's just like, when I played linebacker, I never got the receivers. It was like back when I played, you could still come down the line and get that, crackback block. Crackback blocks weren't illegal when I played. So, like, you got to keep your head on a swivel, because the receiver's going to come down, try and knock you out. You got to keep your head on a swivel. Never took one of those hits. I was very fortunate. But I think what Juju Smith-Schuster did was perfectly fine. The NFL's getting soft. Mike Mitchell, I think he's right. It's interesting because, he said about Matt Hasselbeck calling him dirty. He's like, you don't even know me. You don't know me. And after, listening to him talk, it's like, man, I kind of thought he was a dirty player for a while. And then when you think about it, it's like, maybe he's a dirty player. Maybe he's just old school and is not adapting to the rules like everyone else. I think that's a fair point, because he brought up that Tyler Heifert hit, and I actually remember it. I'm like, oh, shit. That's kind of a cheap shot. But what are you going to do? He's right. There's not many times. Like, you have such a small window when you're playing the secondary to hit someone coming across the middle. And it's full speed. Those dudes are running 4.5, 4.6, 4.7 40s. Some of them 4.4s and 4.3s. They are moving. And they're 200-plus pounds. They're big dudes. You have a very small window. See, here's the funny part. If you're a safety and you hit them high, go helmet to helmet. Not on purpose. Let's just say he dives like Tyler Alford did in that scenario that Mike Mitchell brought up. You hit him in the head. $50,000 fine. All right, that sucks. 15-yard penalty, $50,000 out of your pocket. You don't want to see it. Fans are pissed off. Fans are saying you're a headhunter. Fans are saying you're a cheap, dirty player. That sucks. What if he goes low, puts a helmet to the knee, tears his ACL, blows his knee out? Then he's a dirty player. It's like, holy shit, he was going for knees. He's a dirty player. I know, just being a football player, when people go low like that, you thought they were dirty. You're like, fuck, dude, this guy's got on my ankles, got on my knees. Like, he's trying to hurt someone. So, if you go high, you go low, you're dirty. If you hit him in the gut, you're clean. Well, guess what? When people are flying around, they're big as fuck, and you have to tackle them one-on-one, dude, you're just trying to put your body on his body. And sometimes you miss. Sometimes you don't hit him in the gut. Sometimes you do. And it's just crazy that you have, these analysts, and I know I've been at fault for it sometimes watching games, like thinking these players are dirty. Dude, it's football. It's physical. There's a different thing. There's a difference between, missing on a tackle, going a little high, going a little low, or, someone's going across the middle full speed. Then when you have Vontaze Burfict, stepping on people when they're down, kicking them, trying to literally intentionally hurt someone, there's no need in the game for that. That is bullshit. That's like Sue a couple years ago, stepping on people. You don't need that shit. That's uncalled for. Let's be adults. Let's be professionals. Talking about the NFL players, like there's no need in the game for that to be bush league, trying to hurt people. But it's like going back to the Sarcastaball thing. I don't know what the NFL wants. Like, it's hard as a football fan, knowing how great football was before, to watching the product that's now. Like, no wonder the ratings are going down. But with that being said, the whole ratings going down thing, I think is it's kind of biased, because people these days many people don't even buy cable. They'll stream games illegally. Like, I believe there's still about the same amount of people watching, even though the ratings are going down. People are still watching games at bars. People are still streaming games illegally. People are buying the Sunday ticket shit. I don't know if that. I'm assuming that hurts ratings. I don't know off the top of my head, but there's a lot of different factors into the ratings that there wasn't 15 years ago. So. And I know the NFL wants the ratings high because the more advertisement, the more money. So ratings go down. Essentially, it's affecting advertisement and affecting the money of the NFL. The one thing any sports organizations or anyone in America, they want money. So if their ratings are going down, it's affecting advertisement money. That's a problem. But I just don't like it. I think they're putting a bad product on the field. It's not as fun to watch anymore. And pointing back to before, with so many people getting hurt, I cannot remember as many superstars in one season get hurt like this year. And people aren't getting hit. It's weird to say, but like, getting hit prepares you for games, and getting hit keeps you from getting injured. It's so weird to think, but I swear to God, it's a thing. That's just like lifting, strength training, being prepared for the season, and getting hit. Like, they're all little factors that help keep you healthy. Flexibility, strength, conditioning, all these things are factors. And also learning how to take a hit. And it's weird to say, but like, knowing how to go to the ground's a huge thing. And I know that more from wrestling than football. When you're drilling with someone in practice, and I guess the analogy can be put to football too, in a tackling drill, whatever, you need to know how to go to the ground. Because in grappling, wrestling, if you don't know how to go to the ground, how to like lessen that impact, that's going to be one long fucking wrestling practice. And your ass is going to be sore for weeks. You just learn when you drill and you go hard and you wrestle. You just learn how to, essentially, you know how to roll. You know how to take the impact. It's not as big deal. But I don't know. I think that's a big problem in the NFL. I don't know. I don't really have any stats, or I think that's more of a personal view, personal experience kind of thing. I just know conditioning, strength training, flexibility, knowing how to take a hit, like, those are all things that help prevent injuries. And I don't know what's going on in the NFL right now. There's just a lot of injuries across the board. And it's sad. You hate to see it. That's one thing. Like, I hate Burfict. I didn't want to see him get hurt or anything. And then I know there's a lot of people out there, a lot of dumb people, even the Steeler Nation, are like, "Oh, he deserved it." Blah blah. You got what you got what you had coming to you. Even Antonio Brown in the locker room yelling karma. I don't think that's a good look. You don't want to see anyone ever get hurt. But if there is one person, though, that has karma towards him, it would be him, because he's been the dirt. Like, and hear me, I don't know the dude at all, but I'm going to say it. He's a dirty player, in my opinion. When he's stepping on people, kicking people, trying to hurt people after plays, I think I can wholeheartedly say that I believe he's a dirty player. And maybe I'm wrong for saying that, but I think he's a dirty player. But still, even as a dirty player, I don't see him get hurt. There's life after football. And I know that's why the NFL is getting soft these days, because when you have dudes in their 60s and 50s who can't even remember their freaking name because of CT and all the head trauma they had, you obviously want to help the brand and protect the players from these horrible head injuries. That's why we're making the NFL soft. But, you don't want people affected the rest of their life from playing football. But at the end of the day, they're getting compensated for it. It's the NFL. You're making millions of dollars to play a game where you might get injured and you might have permanent injuries, lasting effects from the game. I don't know about you guys, but if I could play in the NFL, and let's say I play for 5 years, I make $5 million a year. If I could make $25 million playing football and live to like 55, 60, I don't know. I might take that. Doesn't sound like a bad life to me. And now people out here, crying, screaming, well, what about your kids? You don't want to see your kids grow old and stuff. Yeah, I understand. But if you have $25 million, you're going to have a pretty damn good life. And you're going to be able to give your kids a pretty good damn life. And yes, it is sad that you might not see them grow up and live a fulfilling life. Like, you might only see 10 years of it or whatever. But I don't know. There's pluses and negatives to everything in life, and if I have 25 mil, I bet I can find a lot of positives to it. And obviously, there's going to be an awful negative there with your life expectancy and stuff, but in your quality of life towards the end, maybe having CTE and having, memory lapses, not knowing shit. Yeah, hey, that's just what it is. There's good and bad in life, and like I said, that 25 mil, that's 25 million reasons why I think I'd want to play in the NFL. But, well, getting off that topic, I just want to light up the NFL. It's getting soft as fuck these days. I just want to see people hit, have fun. I want to see exciting football. I want to see smash mouth, run the football, not this dink and dunk, throw the ball 40 times game anymore. I don't know. I just think it's not what I grew up watching. I'm not a fan, but that was my rant for the day in the NFL, and Commissioner fucking Roger Goodell ruining football for everyone. Like I said, we might as well just have South Park film and direct the NFL for the rest of the year at this point. I don't know. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Thought Juju Smith-Schuster's hit was legit. Shouldn't have taunted him, but flipping the script to college football rankings, I am currently wearing a Todd Gurley Ram jersey with my Georgia hat. Georgia, number 3 in the college football playoffs. They will play number 2 Oklahoma in the college football playoffs. And Clemson will play number 4 Alabama. Interesting what 4 teams made the college football playoffs. Kind of funny, because I feel like a week ago in this podcast that I called this, and yes, I did. I will brag humbly. I knew Alabama was getting in. Was it the right call? Yeah, they're probably the better team. But looking at it, so here's the thing. Alabama's probably the better team. This is probably the right call for the Final Four, playoffs. Well, the thing, it's such fucking bullshit, though, because if it wasn't Alabama, they wouldn't have gone in. They didn't win their conference, and Ohio State did. I think, it's just, gotta calm down a little bit. It's really frustrating. Not an Ohio State fan. I hate Ohio State. But when you look at it face value, the only real team that Bama played this year was a 10-3 Auburn, and they lost by 12 points. Okay, devil's advocate. 12 points is the second worst loss Nick Saban has ever had in his career at Alabama. 12-point loss is the second worst ever. That right there speaks volumes to what Nick Saban has done at Alabama. I don't know how the fuck that is possible in college football when teams get blown out by 30 and 40, and that's just a normal day at the office. Nick Saban is some kind of mysterious wizard, and I don't know if he was casting spells or what he was doing to get Alabama into the fourth spot in the playoffs, but he did something right. I think Alabama's deserving of the spot. I just don't think, based off the criteria, what they set up for the playoffs, that they should have got in. I thought with Ohio State winning the Big Ten, they should have got in. Now, people would say, well, they lost by 31 to Iowa. Yeah, that sucks. They lost to Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma's number 2 in the country right now. You put them in, they can play them in the national championship. They can get that redemption game. But I think the better team got in Alabama. It just doesn't make sense with the criteria. Like I said, Ohio State should have got in. But the one interesting thing, so I'm going to rattle off the top 10 here. There's also a couple things on ESPN, but I don't even know how much I believe ESPN at this point. But I'm going to go with this real quick. Clemson 1, 2 Oklahoma, 3 Georgia, 4 Bama, 5 Ohio State, 6 Wisconsin, 7 Auburn, 8 USC, 9 Penn State, and 10 UCF. And UCF is undefeated at number 10. Personally, I actually agree with the top 10 other than one thing. I think USC should be 6, Wisconsin 7, and Auburn 8. They should just, Insert USC at 6, bump the other two down, and I think that's the correct 10. The fact that USC is number 8 when they won the Pac-12, they only had 2 losses, and they're right behind a 3-loss Auburn just because they're in the SEC. That's where this SEC bias comes in, and this is why I picked Bama to get in last week. Doesn't make sense to me. I think USC was better in Wisconsin, better in Auburn. Honestly, they're probably just as good as Ohio State, and that's what I was saying what ESPN mentioned. If you put all 3 teams in their like strength of schedule and everything across the board, Bama, Ohio State, USC. USC won their conference, had a tougher strength of schedule than Bama, and they only had 2 losses. Now, Bama has that 1 loss, and I don't know how much that plays into effect here, but Bama had 1 loss. Ohio State and USC both had 2. But it doesn't make sense to me why USC is 8 when you consider the strength of schedule and having a conference championship, because they said the college football the committee who votes on this made a point and said how much conference championships should matter. And that's what's crazy about Nick Saban. Even though he's a great coach, I don't know if I like him. I have mixed opinions about Nick Saban, but that's either here nor there. The important thing I want to bring up, though, with that situation is last year, Nick Saban actually mentioned how he thought it was very important for a team to win their conference to get in the playoffs. And I think it's funny because Ohio State jumped Penn State last year as Penn State won the Big Ten, and Ohio State got in the playoffs, got whacked. That's another thing here. I don't know if they respect the Big Ten in the college football playoff like the committee does right now, because back-to-back years, Michigan State and then Ohio State, both teams got into the playoffs and got whacked first game by 30 points. So I don't know if that has to play in. That might be a factor too. Considering, though, so that was the last 2 years. The year before that, though, and 3 years ago, Ohio State actually won the national championship. So Big Ten won the national championship, got blown out 2 years in a row, and then this year they get shut out. Even though they won their conference, Ohio State won their conference, and Bama did not. But it's funny, though, Nick Saban this year was singing a different tune when his team didn't win their conference and wanted to get in the playoffs. Thought that was hilarious. I love that. Saw people, you got to love Twitter and the internet. Saw people literally posting videos with him from 2016, top left corner, and Nick Saban from 2017, bottom right corner, and how his he was singing a different tune in 2 of those different videos based on what his team's position was going up to that final weekend of voting. But I don't know. That was my little rant about college football rankings and the committee. I believe that they got it right. I think they had the best 4 teams in the country. If I had to pick a team that's going to win it all right now, honestly, I'm going to hold on a week. I'm going to think about this. I want to say Georgia. I'm a big fan, Gurley, Georgia Bulldogs. But Baker Mayfield and Oklahoma, I don't know. Right now I'd be leaning towards one of those 2 teams, but I don't know. I'll make a pick on that next week because I feel like Clemson's the favorite to win it all, but they're the same team lost to Syracuse this year, so I think that plays an effect in all this too. But I'll make that call next week. But now I want to flip the script to the NFL. I just want to run through this real quick. First off, I will be at the Steelers game this Sunday night against the Ravens. Steelers are -5 at home. Sunday Night Football against the Ravens. It's going to be one hell of a game. Gotta love Big Ben after the game last week. A reporter asked him, what'd you think about the physicality? Basically the question was, what do you think of the physicality of the game? What can you describe it as? And he's like, AFC North football. What a fucking G quote. AFC North football. The reporter asked, that's all. Ben said, yep. That's all you need to know. Hard-hitting, smack-mouth football. But like I said earlier in the Light 'em Up segment, it's not quite as physical as it was in the early 2000s when you had Steelers and Ravens. They used to call it a black and blue game because people were getting beat up, physical. Oh my God. Just thinking about now, it's getting exciting. I'm getting excited thinking about the old time games, such smash mouth, physical football, but it's not the same. But this weekend at Heinz Field, though, it'll be one of the most physical games like the last game you'll see in the NFL this year. No, hands down. Ravens, Steelers, Sunday Night Football. It's going to be the Ravens. I didn't look at the the current standings, but I'm sure they still have a chance to make a wild card. So the Ravens, this will be a big win for them, a big momentum swing for them if they can win at Heinz Field. And they're +5, the Ravens, and I'm going to take the Ravens +5 at Pittsburgh this weekend. Even though huge Steelers fan, I'll be at the game. I think the Ravens are going to come out. They're going to play well. Joe Flacco is going to show a little bit of that eliteness, why people over the years have trying to throw him into that elite category, even though he's not. But that'll be a fun game this weekend. One of the big games, Falcons home versus Saints. Falcons -2.5. I think the Falcons take this game. They're going to make the NFC South very interesting between the Panthers, Saints, and Falcons. Bills, Colts. Bills -4 at home. I'll take the Bills Mafia. Talking about the Panthers, Saints, and Falcons in the NFC South. Panthers, +2.5 at home versus the Vikings. I think they get it done at home. They got beat by the Saints last week. I think they take care of business at home right now. Cam Newton's going to be Cam Newton. Going to be Super Cam, not Scam Cam. Scam Newton. So I'll take the Panthers at home versus the Vikings. Then you got the Bengals at home, Bears. Bengals -6.5. Take them. Browns, Packers. That couldn't be a least interesting game in the NFL this week between the Browns and the Aaron Rodgers-less Packers. I'll take the Packers -3 at Cleveland. Texans -3 at home, 49ers. Take Texans -3. Dolphins, Pats on the road -11.5. I don't know. You want to take the home dog here, +11.5. So I will. I'll take the Dolphins +11.5 at home. Rams -2.5 versus the Eagles at home. I'll take the Rams. Chiefs -4 at home. I'll take the Raiders. Chiefs, Raiders, divisional game. This is another division. The AFC West is going to be very interesting. The Chiefs, Raiders, and the Chargers. Pretty sure they're all 6-6. It's going to be fun end of the year. I had the Raiders winning this division before the year and had the Chiefs being number 2 team. I think the Raiders, it's going to be the Raiders or Chargers. I think the Chiefs have went on just their momentum's gone. They went 5-0 start of the season. Now they've been 1-6 since. They're 6-6 right now. I think they fell apart. I don't think Andy Reid gets this team back on track. I'll take the Raiders +4 on the road at Arrowhead. Tough place to play. But hey, the Steelers this year went in there and won. And obviously, if they've been 1-6 since the Steelers went in there, or I guess that would be one of the losses, one of those 6. But they've definitely lost at home as well, since the Steelers beat them there. But yeah, I think the Raiders or the Chargers are going to win that division. Then we got Bucks at home versus the Lions. Bucks are -1 at home. I'll take the Lions +1, Giants +4 at home versus the Cowboys. I'll take the Cowboys on the road. Cardinals +3 at home versus the Titans. I'm going to take the Titans -3 on the road. Broncos +1 at home versus the Jets. God, I hate betting on the Broncos at home, but they're 3-9 at this point. I don't know what the fuck happened. The Broncos started out strong, beat the Cowboys at home when the Cowboys were the Cowboys this year, and they had all their pieces, their essential pieces to the puzzle. I'll take the Jets -1 at Denver. That's a risky bet. Already talked about the Cardinals. Yeah, the Cardinals, the Chargers, and the Redskins. Chargers -6 at home. I'll take them versus the Redskins. Then the Jags are -2.5 at home versus Seattle. I'm taking Seattle. I am huge on Seattle. NFC West, it's coming down to the Rams, Seahawks. They're going to be fighting out for the divisional winner. I think whatever team doesn't win that division will be one of the 2 wild cards. But that was my spiel for the week. But I'm big on the Seahawks this year. You can't go wrong with Russell Wilson, man. He just makes too many fucking plays. Just too many plays. But yeah, that's my around the horn of the NFL. But I just want to finish talking more about the Steelers Ravens. Juju Smith-Schuster is suspended, will not be playing this week. Ryan Shazier out with that horrendous back injury. Praying for him. Steeler Nation is as well. Awful. We'll see if Big Ben can get it done. AB took a big hit in that last game too. I saw in the highlights. That end zone catch he had went helmet to helmet. You don't have to see people freaking out about that, but like I said, 10 years ago, that's business. That's every day at the office. That was a normal play, normal hit. Hey, AB got up, took it, made a hell of a touchdown catch. But yeah, I'm looking for a lot this week. Hopefully, Le'Veon Bell is a big week, and the Steelers defense can rally together for Ryan Shazier this weekend. Have a big one. Hope the Steelers win. I'm gonna bet on the Ravens. +5. Because the Steelers Ravens every fucking game is a 3-point game, and it's crazy because this could be three straight 3-point games with Steelers if they can pull it off. If they do, I think they'll win by 3. So should be a fun, energetic atmosphere at Heinz Field this weekend. Steelers Ravens, gotta love it. It's one of the most iconic matchups there is in football today. Should be fun. A little dig last week. Thanks to AB. This is a little tidbit I want to add for the guys in the big show. Was number 8 seed in our fantasy. I think there's 14 teams in our fantasy league, and I was the number 8 seed, as last person to make the playoffs at 6-5-1. And I had a big week, and I ended up knocking off the number 1 seed Rick, who was 11-1 going to the playoffs. So I'm sorry, Rick. Had to do like that. AB. He was questionable. I rolled the dice. I figured AB wouldn't miss the game. He was rejected 0 points all week. He ended up playing, balled out, had just enough to upset the number 1 seed, and hopefully this momentum can roll on the next couple games, and hopefully I can win the fantasy league that a bunch of members of the Southbound Sports family play in. So should be fun, should be exciting, but this is it. This is Space or Laces. Had a good one today. Over and out, guys.